Oh my goodness, we made it! Welcome to Module 8, the final module in this course. With all of the work you've done so far, you have a great brand system in place. And here's a little secret. Most people don't do all of this work, so that gives you a strategic advantage. Good job! You now know what a brand guide is and how to use it to maintain consistency throughout your marketing materials, something we will talk more about in this lesson. You have your fundamentals down, you know your target audience, hopefully almost as well as you know your best friend. You've done your competitive research, so you know how to stand out, and you know what you stand for with clear brand values and a strong personality. You know what makes a good logo, so if you're just starting out, you can build one that works. And if you have one that hasn't been working as well as you might like, you now know what to think about when you're ready to do a brand refresh. You understand the basics of color psychology and how to use that to differentiate your brand, as well as how to use it to convey your brand personality and values. And you understand how different types of imagery can be used to connect with your audiences. In the last module, you created the building blocks for your brand messaging. And you now have a library of content that you can draw upon when you're crafting content for social media, a web page, a new brochure, or even in face-to-face conversations. And in this module, we are talking about the real-world things that impact how your brand is perceived. Things like your website, customer experience, and even the vibe of your physical space if you have a brick and mortar location. Are you ready? Let's go! The roadmap for this lesson is the importance of brand consistency, physical spaces, digital experiences, customer service experiences, and packaging and product presentation. Every touch point, that is every customer interaction, shapes how people perceive your brand. If we're not intentional, we can send mixed messages without even realizing it. That's why the work you've done in this course is so important to marketing success. Every time someone interacts with your business, whether they see a social post, visit your website, or open an email, they're forming an impression of your brand. If things look or sound inconsistent, it can be confusing. The human brain uses pattern recognition as a shortcut to make sense of the world. When you use your brand elements consistently, it allows your audience to identify a pattern, which enhances recognition and increases trust. That's why the work you've done in this course is so valuable. You've built the foundation for your brand guide, and you've made strategic decisions based on research to define your brand's visual identity and key messages. With that guidance in place, you have everything you need to show up in a clear and consistent way, no matter where people find you. From your brand colors and fonts to the way you talk about your business, these choices make it easier for people to recognize and trust you. Since most people aren't trained in branding and haven't learned about the power of consistent brand experiences, it's common to have little inconsistencies in your marketing and in your customer service. Let's talk about some of those inconsistencies so you know what to look for. Let's start off by talking about visual consistency. Let's start by talking about your website and landing pages. Are your brand colors, fonts, and logo the same across all pages? What about social media graphics? Do your posts follow a consistent color scheme and style? How about email and newsletters? Are you using the same templates, fonts, and colors? And business cards and printed materials, do they match your digital presence? If you have product packaging and labels, do they reflect your brand identity? Finally, there's the physical space. Are your brand colors prominent? Does the space match your brand personality? Moving on to messaging consistency. Check your social media captions. Do they reflect your brand personality and tone of voice? What about your website copy? Is your messaging clear and aligned with your brand's core values? Is the tone of voice on target for the message and the audience? In email marketing, do your subject lines and body text match your usual tone? And how about those product descriptions? Are they written in the same style across platforms? Finally, let's talk about ads and promotions. Do they sound like they're from the same brand no matter where they appear? Have you considered consistency in your customer experience? Check your customer service responses. Do your emails, DMs, and replies sound friendly and on brand? Have you thought about your packaging and unboxing experience? Does that align with the feeling you want your brand to create? How about order confirmation and follow-ups? Do they match the tone and personality of your brand? And if applicable, the in-person experience. Does your booth, store, or office reflect your brand personality? Moving on to your online presence, think about your username and profile pictures. Are they the same across all platforms? What about the bio and about section? Does your description match across your social media, your website, and your directories? What about links and contact info? Are they updated and easy to find everywhere? And finally, your brand values and promises. Are you consistently reinforcing what your brand stands for? On your pricing and policies, do they remain fair and clear across all platforms? And do your collaborations and partnerships align with your brand's vision and audience? This isn't about being rigid, it's about making sure people instantly recognize and trust your brand wherever they find you. When your brand looks, sounds, and feels consistent, you create a strong, reliable presence that keeps customers coming back. Now that we've covered the big picture of brand consistency, let's dive into ways that you can weave your brand into various aspects of the customer experience. Starting with physical spaces. If you have a physical location where customers or clients engage with you, this space is your brand. The space will impact how people perceive your brand from the moment they walk through the door. Following are a few tips for how you can make sure your physical space reflects the perception that you want people to have of your brand. Include your brand colors in the space and try to create a feeling that is in alignment with your brand personality. For example, if your brand is warm and inviting, your space should be too. Think about all the senses. For example, what music is playing? What scents do people associate with your space? If you have staff, they also impact the perception of your brand. If they're welcoming and helpful, that reinforces a positive perception. Thinking about digital experiences, whether you're an online business or you're just using a website to showcase your brand, your digital experience impacts how credible and trustworthy people think your brand is. Imagine this, a potential customer lands on your site excited to check out what you offer, but instead of a smooth, enjoyable experience, they're met with a confusing layout, broken links, and pages that take forever to load. What do? They click away fast. A website that's hard to navigate or just plain confusing will frustrate visitors. If they can't find what they're looking for quickly, they won't stick around to figure it out. Second, your mobile experience really matters. On average, more than 60% of website traffic comes from mobile devices. If your site doesn't load quickly and work well on a phone, you could lose more than half of your potential customers before they even get started. Speaking of the customer service experience, one of the biggest challenges with branding is that a brand exists in the mind of the consumer. As business owners, it's our responsibility to do everything we can to shape the perception that someone has of our brand, but ultimately it exists in their mind and in their opinion based on the experiences that they have had personally with the brand. Every interaction they have, whether it's visiting our website, reading an email, or buying a product, affects how they feel about our brands. You can craft the perfect message, design a beautiful logo, and create eye-catching marketing, but at the end of the day, the brand exists in the mind of the consumer. Think about it. If a customer reaches out with a question and gets a slow, dismissive response, they're going to remember that. No matter how beautiful your logo is or how nice your website is, that one negative interaction can overshadow everything else. On the flip side, great reviews can build trust in an instant. When people see that others have had positive experiences with your brand, it reassures them that they're making the right choice. Here's the bottom line. Your customers want to feel heard and valued, and when they do, they will be your brand's biggest ambassadors. Dare we say brand BFFs? They'll tell their friends, leave positive reviews, and keep coming back. Now let's talk about packaging. Picture this. You've just received a package in the mail. You open the box and everything inside is beautifully arranged, thoughtfully wrapped, and feels like an experience. Now compare that to receiving the same product in a plain, generic cardboard box. Which one leaves a stronger impression? If you sell physical goods or packaged food, your packaging is part of your branding. It's not just a box, it's an opportunity. Think about the brands people love to unbox, like Apple and Tiffany. These brands don't just sell a product, they create a moment. The packaging is part of the excitement, making customers feel like they're unwrapping something truly special. Okay, that was a fast overview, but here's what I want you to take away. Be consistent across your website, socials, emails, and customer interactions. If you have a physical space, make sure the space feels like your brand. Your website is your first impression online. Make sure it's polished and error-free. Customer experience is everything because your brand is what people say about it. And packaging matters. Make the unboxing experience feel intentional. To help you out, I've created a brand perception checklist so you can do a quick audit of your brand and make sure everything is aligned. You can find it in your module and handouts. And that's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson where we will go over data and metrics by request of your fellow students. See you there.